I will call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. for our, what is today's date? September 14th, 2021 Village Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Okay, Trustee Bingham.
Present.
Trustee Duncan.
Here.
Trustee Brendan. Here. Trustee Mansell. Here. Trustee Mitchell. Present. And Trustee Saylor.
Here.
Okay, we're here tonight and Dana is remoting in. I would now ask you to remove your hats and stand for our Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence after for our fallen war dead. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you very much. Please be seated. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda that consists of the meeting minutes from 17 August 2021 and the vouchers, monthly bills, and journal entries. We have a motion by Duncan, second by Bingham. Is there anything anybody would like removed for further discussion? Hearing no request, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Public comments on the agenda. If anybody, Pastor, would you like to say something or?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. And if I say I'm going to call you back, I guarantee you I'm going to call you back the next day. All righty, I have nothing for the president's report, and we will go into the committee reports. The Airport Commission, we have a meeting this coming Thursday on the 16th at 8 a.m. and we will be doing our approval of our budget, and we're also talking about a T-hanger issue and probably funding something over there one way or another. And I've asked Boz to go over there with me on Thursday at 8 o'clock for that purpose. Any questions on the minutes? Okay, we will go to the Police and Fire Commission. Chairman Stewart, before you start, everybody look down at B-Boy. Item 2, motion to accept appointment of the fire chief. Please scratch the word emotion, the word motion, because they do the hiring and firing, as you heard me say, and everybody else, Chairman Stewart said it on times, and we do the operations part of the police and fire department. And so there's no need to have a motion because they did the hiring and the new chief is in. So it's just not to confuse you too much. Okay, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Police and Fire Commission met last night and completed the final phase of the fire chief selection process. And ultimately, the commissioners passed a motion which immediately appointed Jason Warden as our next fire chief. I see Jason is here tonight, so I would like to recognize him maybe with a round of applause. We believe we're very fortunate to have Jason and his dedication, his experience, his training at the top spot in the fire department, and we're very excited to work with him. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm excited to work with you all also.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Anything else?
Our next meeting is to be determined, as we have nothing on the close horizon that we need to address. So maybe looking at November for our next meeting.
Okay. I do have an announcement to make. I just found out a couple minutes ago that the October 12th Village Board meeting will be starting, or do you want it earlier too?
Well, the staff recommendation, working with PFC, is that we conduct it at 7 o'clock at the fire department meeting area. We front load an official pinning ceremony for your new chief with his family members present. Then they can depart to the other side where the trucks are and either have Lickies and Chewies or whatever y'all gonna do over there. And then we continue the meeting in the fire meeting area.
Yeah, we think that's really important. This pinning of the star, the ceremonial pinning of the star is a big deal. And we think that a lot of staff is gonna be there and a lot of friends and family from out of town coming in. So I thought it was a great idea to hold our meeting. If you guys would indulge us to have your meeting in the firehouse, I think that'd be wonderful.
Okay, I was assured, board, by Chairman Stewart and our illustrious village administrator that they were gonna let the village president know where the October meeting was gonna be. So I am deeply honored that they let me know. Very good. Jason, congratulations.
Thanks, Joe.
You know, when you came and you first got on the fire department, I had black hair and a whole lot more of it, but
Likewise.
it's a promotion, well deserved, sir. I'm
Thank you.
very happy for you. Okey dokey. Anything else, Chairman Stewart?
No, and I'm gonna duck out. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thanks, Sean.
you're more than welcome to stay.
Yeah, it gets pretty exciting.
I'll take that as she didn't hear me. All right, into the planning commission, I have no comments to make. And we do have a motion that I am going to read in detail. And after I'm done, I will ask for a second. I am going to make the motion personally, and then ask any questions you have after reading this. And I just told Boz before the meeting, the 3 points down there, number 1, number 2, and number 3, pretty well sum up everything. And as going forward, I think we got a real good product that's going to be enforceable and going forward. And I want Boz to really give the same speech he gave at the planning commission, because I think it'll really give you all the background you're going to need in case you have any questions or are asked any questions. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the PUD rezoning submitted by the Nepco Lake developers for parcels 1810550, 1810568 C Charlie, 1810568 D David, based on information provided by the applicant and analysis and findings contained in the village staff report dated 24 August 2021, subject to the following conditions. First, conduct a full disclosure to all potential buyers that the properties in question are part of a boundary agreement with the town of Saratoga and the village of Port Edwards, and this agreement will impact their taxes and villager services provided starting in January of 2024. Second, due to the unique nature of the lakeside development as well as wetland construction, a copy of all Department of Natural Resource DNR permits and inspections be provided to the village for the record no later than 7 days from the permit issuance, or inspection completion. Third, since the private road impacts a potential 10 villagers who will not be provided village services, a clear 10-year plan on road care and regular maintenance updated every 5 years to include snow and ice removal be provided to the village no later than when the first parcel is sold and developed at 50% completion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Trustee Mansell. And now open it up for any discussion. And Boz, John, you'll be first. Boz, you chime in and take it. I would appreciate it.
Just a question on the number 3. So what is, in essence, are we saying there's 10, it's a private road being put in by the developer, so therefore we're not providing any village services? Is that?
Yeah.
That's the way it reads. I just want to make sure that's what
So the products I would refer you to in the packet, you have the a 2-page, you have the minutes from the zoning commission meeting. You have a 2-page document called NEPCO North Shore at NEPCO Lake, project data. It's a lot of specifics in there. Costs to size of the project, and then there's a overall map. So the map, if you
What
look
page
at
is
that,
that, Boz? Do you have a
15,
number up?
yeah, 10
Page
through
13.
15,
I'm sorry.
10 through 15.
Thank you.
So if you go to 15, the map gives you the best overhead shot. So these are 3 parcels, as read by the president, that are being merged into a development for PUD purposes. The slivers of land, parcels 1 through 14, are actual home sites built along Nepco Lake Road. Then there are 10 smaller boxes there along the lake that are condominiums, land condominiums for most part, that are along a private road. So Nepco Lake is maintained by the village. We provide services there. So we will continue to provide services for those 14 properties. Obviously, no water, no sanitation, but we will plow and salt and so on. But the 10 condominiums are on a private road. Hence, we do not provide any services other than police and fire if required. So that takes me to the 3 conditions. So what these conditions came about when the application came in, we wanted to learn from our lessons learned from the previous development. And the 3 major sticking points that kept surfacing since my time and digging into this were road conditions, where the permitting, is it appropriate? Is it by DNR standards and that type stuff? And then the disclosure, full disclosure to all the individuals, not hidden in a subset of their mortgage agreement. So we were very clear with the developers. They were here. I have a signed document from the developers agreeing to these three conditions. So I think this addresses the concerns, I'll say, from the east side of the lake. The developers were very forthcoming in saying they'll support that and will continue to support that. Since this meeting, I've received DNR permits, received everything we've asked for.
Okay.
So they're being very forthcoming with their information flow and transparent. So I think this motion rezones this property appropriately for development for the near term between 1 to 10 year window is when they have for development purposes. It will definitely be a boon for our tax purpose. Minimal amount of a couple $1,000s of taxes that we would generate as a village to over into the hundreds of thousands based on the property value. So I think it's a definitely benefit to the village as long as we hold firm on the rules, the regulations, the permits, and everything we should be doing. And the developers a full agreement with that. So
Thank you.
Great, go ahead there.
So on this map or whatever, that private property, they purchased that property.
they own those 3 parcels.
They own that.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the 10 in the boxes, that's where the condos.
The road, you see the road network there? It's like a Y.
Yep.
That is the private road. The 10 are individual.
So those aren't
Land
pre-existing now.
condominium.
This entire piece of property is just bare right now?
It is bare. Yeah. There's been some clearance done.
Okay.
But it is, they're basically taking 3 large parcels, 30+ acres, lumping them into a quasi subdivision. And
And the property owners are, the neighboring property owners are,
they, most were at the meeting, as mentioned there. There's only 2 active property owners on left and right limits. They were at the meeting. They voiced comments and concerns. But I got the sense that after we departed, based on conditions and future discussions, that for the most part, no one left that meeting in a very contentious mode.
Anyone else? Yes, Tara.
I don't quite have my words, but I'm uncomfortable with it. And I don't think it necessarily is gonna serve them all well over there. And I would hate to endorse it for more tax revenue and burn the residents that are there. That's my biggest concern.
I have that same concern also. but it's not our property. You know, it's their property. They can choose to, all they're doing is just rezoning it so they can sell chunks to other people. You know, if it was something that we controlled, then I would have a little more concern. over
Well,
it,
but we have the control over the zoning of it.
So if I may,
Yes,
so
it's open.
it's zoned now as residential, that they, without ever visiting us as a board, could put 36 houses on there, no questions asked. They're actually, in my discussions and working with them, they're doing a more prudent thing, carving it up, having more green space, having some access points to the lake, access points for fire trucks to get to the lake appropriately, where we did not have that influence on the other side of the lake. So they're reducing the footprint, not too much development. They're going from 37, 14 actual houses, and then 10 smaller condominiums. And they're actually have a more planned environment there. So it's not, I did focus on the tax. It is by no means
And I
focused on
understand
the
that's your.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that. It just, you know, the best determiner of future is past. So where do we go from there?
It's open,
Could,
Sue.
oh, okay, could I ask, then what are you hearing or what specifically are you commenting on or
Well,
relating it to?
literally that there's residents that feel maybe intimidated to speak up openly. With concerns of backlash. That really
From-
concerns me.
The other resident?
Residents around the lake.
Okay,
There's several things that for me personally, I would like to pump the brakes.
Anything else?
Oh, there's a lot more.
Dana, as chairman of the pit committee, do you have anything to add, or would you like to make a statement?
Only thing I can say is they have control over their property. They can do pretty much what they want. The fact that we're able to negotiate and get some accommodations for it is well within. If they wanted to just convert this into one big condominium building and control the parking and all that, we'd have no say in it. And, you know, this way we at least have some ability to obtain some value for the area that would not necessarily be there. So, I mean, this is private property, and so other than the zoning, which they basically have anyway, I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, I would just say, I understand where Tiara is coming from. History is a prelude to what the future can be, and I think we all understand that. If we don't, we should. But what Dana said, what Eric said earlier, and to get something in writing, as Boz has done, is probably the best situation we can be in going forward for the future. Historically, we didn't have some of that, I believe. So I think yeah, I hear you, girl. I do. I really do. But I would vote in favor. Well, now the zoning's already taken place, right?
Yes.
Approving the zoning.
No, the planning commission approved it
So if it's up to us to
Yeah,
approve it.
yeah.
Okay.
because it's a CSM change.
Okay.
And I understand too what's going on, but by the same token, it kind of is reminiscent of the people who build a house out in the country and then start complaining about the smell from the farms. I mean, you should be looking at what you're buying into. If you're having complaints about what's going on, buyer beware. So that's on them if they're having problems or feel intimidated.
Passing proverbial gavel. The thing that caught my mind and yes, here, even my ear that night was after the meeting, in Bos's interaction with the developers and the residents from the east side in that village. And going back to my old police experience, it was a talk and you could sense and even feel that any tension was starting to go down. And the residents, they delivered a message to the developers. But I was quite impressed. Here I go giving him a compliment again, but he did a hell of a job getting the sides together and getting the package that we have. So, I'll take the gavel.
Hire Eric.
But, so if we have no other questions or discussion on the matter, all those in favor of approving the motion as read will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, and that passes 5-1. Thank you, everybody. Good discussion. Chairman Bingham, you guys didn't meet with all the construction.
Work continues, that's, yeah. Boz and Ben, I think I was in Monaco at the time, so it was a good call, sitting on the patio up on my porch up there, so. No, work continues. I've been in contact with Ben probably once a week, and so it was a good call. I think we meet Thursday night, right, Boz?
Sure, yeah.
So we will, unless something happens, we will be meeting Thursday night, Mr. President.
All the streets torn up in town and the chairman of the public works doesn't even have a meeting.
Well, that means work is being done. Something's happening, right?
All right, thanks, John.
Yeah.
Chairman Mansell, Park and Rec.
We met August 24th. Not a whole lot. Splash pad did close.
Closes
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Closes tomorrow for the year, so we'll be able to see what the true cost of running it for the year is. Geese update, the geese came back temporary. I haven't seen them in the last couple of days though. But they came back because that crop got harvested, so then they come and eat what was dropped and they hunker down for a little bit, but discuss the submission of the 2 county grants for the dog park and the kayak inputs. Looks like the kayak grant is it a go yet? Or
It's moving forward. Yep.
Forward anyway. Okay, and then we'll see about the funding in December or early January. I talked about the pool passes again. Boz had some discussion with Wisconsin Rapids to do potential pool passes for next summer. And he'll bring back some more info. Also, we were contacted by the Disc Frisbee Golf, a citizens group that'll help discuss how to help that disc golf area maintain it and make it look presentable. Any questions?
What's the grant for coyote exactly? What's that for?
That was to install at a minimum 3, or I should say minimum 1, up to 3 kayaks, 1 on Nepco Lake and 2 on the river.
Okay.
For the village. So it would be part of the village parks inventory over time.
Kayaks or kayak inputs?
Inputs, yeah, kayak.
Yeah. All right. So it's we wouldn't be buying kayaks themselves, right?
The clearance of the area, little gravel.
Would be a launch pad.
Launch pads, yes, sir, yeah.
All right. Just the attorney and me looking at liability issues.
Good point, Dana.
All right. That's all. Thanks.
Yep.
Okey dokey. Finance and Human Resources, Chairman Taylor, and before you get started, if I may interject, you will be meeting with Warden. That'll now be yours, to go over the fringes and the state retirement and whatnot, and recommend any changes in wages or anything to the board for approval. So Jason, that'll be a meeting that you will be having with Finance and Human Resources.
Right.
You're gonna be rich.
Do public safety first. Holding meetings from me, locations and everything.
All right, so
I'm sorry, Chairman Saylor. Public safety.
we met on 7 September. The fire department had their report. One of the biggest things is the assistant chief, Tom Lila, passed away, and they had his funeral on 8 September. He will be missed. Talked about some stuff with the budget, some upcoming stuff, gave an update on the chief's interview. Police department talked about the school crossing program. And then that was about it. Next meeting will be 5 October at 4 p.m. I know 4 p.m. is kind of early for you since you work in Marshfield, so if Greg or somebody else is gonna come down,
Yeah, we'll see, maybe I can sneak out early.
since you're a big wig now. That's all I had for public safety.
You've already been announced for FHR, so keep going.
Oh, and then going back to public safety, I'd like to congratulate Jason on being selected as a chief, and actually both him and Leverance for applying and going through that process and vetting, and thanking first assistant chief Kester and Leverance for maintaining the status quo for the last couple of months. They're still going to be in the process while Jason's going to school and stuff like that, but just thank you for your time and energies on that. FHR, we got a meeting on 9 September. One of the biggest things that we had a discussion, so as many of you have probably heard, we had a sewer pipe break underneath the track that went to a new homeowner's basement. So we had a conversation. I don't know how much detail we want to get into it, but long story short, insurance companies are being insurance companies. I'm going to make a motion. We have some bills for some remediation, some cleaning of some things, and then there was a list of private property and all sorts of stuff. We had a discussion, and we're going to talk about. Well, I'll just make the motion first.
Do we have a second?
No, let me make the motion.
Second.
Already said second motion.
No.
We didn't read what it was though.
I know what he's talking about. Go ahead, Eric.
So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the reimbursement of damages up to $15,000 from the village emergency fund for the sewer line damages. Number 891 at 891 3rd Street, Port Edwards. That's the Ridgeway household. The 3 bills revived for approximately $11,000 will be paid by the village, and the remainder of that $15,000 will be paid to the residents. The village will follow up with the insurance company as a possible reimbursement.
Do I have a second? That was by trustee Duncan.
Second.
For discussion.
I would make the question ask the question again that I did at the meeting the other day. Has there been any more looking at the cost benefits of the village having insurance that would cover sewer breaks?
League is sending me some quotes on what their program is.
Okay.
Right now, in our initial discussions, it's about $3,500 a year added to our policy. It would just be specifically as a secondary insurance. So if this happens again, for example, the homeowner would be first have to file with their insurance. If there's a delta in the damages, then our policy would kick in. If that homeowner has no insurance, like in this scenario, then our insurance would kick in and pay the entire damages. Once I get that finalized, I'll bring it up through FHR for more detailed discussions.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I think it's important to mention too, in regard to that insurance discussion, and correct me anybody, but I think this in recent memory, or even not so recent memory, this is a first. So keep that, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. Boz is going to do some research, bring it to us. Seems like insurance, he always wants you to tack on. Oh, you don't have your personal items covered. Oh, we'll tack that on. And so it's a game. sometimes you have to play it, sometimes you don't. But it's not a regular occurrence in the village. I just want everybody to understand that.
But we do have failing infrastructure.
Well, that's the other side of it.
No, that's. what
Yeah,
I meant.
no, that's a
That's
good
what I
point, Sue. I would agree. We don't know. We don't know what, you know.
I would like to point out for the record that this is a unique circumstance and this does not establish precedent for future claims involving this. This was an isolated event. And so accordingly, I would make clear for the record that we're not binding ourselves to any future claims if they arise. It's a case by case basis.
Except for establishing some precedents.
Even if you say we're not, we are.
It's good karma, good karma right now.
Anybody else?
That's true.
Okay, the motion was made by Chairman Saylor, second by trustee Duncan. All those in favor of approving the motion as read by the chairman will signify by saying aye.
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 That motion carries unanimously.
Okay, and then we talked briefly about the budget, kind of where were some slides with that. And then we had a discussion on the hazardous duty pay for the election workers. With that, I would, if I can find it, make a motion to approve the hazardous duty allotment, $50 per election for the election workers in 2021, utilizing the federal ARPA funds.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is it Betsy? Okay. Motion by trustee or Chairman Saylor, second by trustee Mansell. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to add, Mr. President, that's for the record, for COVID situation we're going to be in, and for the social discord in society right now. I think the election workers definitely should be provided additional funds.
And that's for the previous elections. That's not setting, it's not for here moving forward. It's for the, it's already been done. It's already been figured out. So.
And if anybody ever has any complaints about it, then they're volunteering to help with the next election for the amount that's already been paid.
We might have an enforcement problem there, but I like it. John, were you gonna?
No, yeah.
No? You had that look about it.
I know, it's that you're in the headlight. Yeah.
Okay. The motion was made by Chairman Saylor, second by trustee Mansell, as read by the chairman. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Pit Committee, Chairman Duncan.
Yes, well, we met on September 9th. We had a motion that I'm presenting to approve resolution hashtag 2021-06TO amendment revised updated language in chapter 2 of the village board ordinances. We'll take, or do you want me to do them together, or would you want me to do them separately?
Your prerogative, I would prefer
Go ahead. What's your preference, Mr. President?
to merge them or
All right, then that's what I'll do. And the second is I'll move to approve resolution hashtag 2021-07 TO amend, revise, update language in chapter 10 public nuisances.
do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Mitchell. Discussion.
And I am not listed as one of the public nuisances, correct, Boz?
Not openly.
Yeah. All this is our continuing effort to clean up our ordinances. So chapter 2 is focused on village board. There was a lot of red ink changes over many years. We wanted to refresh that. The main point, I would say, if you go to page 27 of your packet, That really is the major addition. The rest were just, administrative changes. 27 is where we updated our local business meeting rules for this meeting and our committee meetings. So we go by Robert's rules, we go by state rules, state statutes, but then we do some things, internally here as a small village that we wanted to standardize and make sure we capture certain things that we put on our agendas, certain ways we run our meetings. So that was really the major input to chapter 2. And then chapter 10, public nuisances. Again, very little refreshing, that ordinance, not many changes. The biggest addition there was 10.12, business district rules. This was an ongoing concern and discussion. So that starts on, it's like page 30.
We're on the bottom.
34. That was really focused on the specific rules that are higher than the average resident in the village. It's really for this district right here, this building and across the street, that ensures that our business district has a little bit more uniformity, a little bit more higher standards, and we can try to rein in some of the difference of standardizations outside our doors here, so we can start drawing appropriate businesses to here. So that was a major input there. That was all vetted by PIT committee as well as our legal counsels.
And if I may go back to chapter 2, the state is still very pro home rule. So what is written, smaller towns, Rapids doesn't have this advantage, and townships do have what they call home rule that Boz alluded to it when he said about the smaller communities or whatever, so, which means we don't have to follow it by the book. We do have leeway sometimes in making our decisions. Maybe that'll be a good topic for Dick to, next time we have him down, to explain home rule. Go.
So in 10.12, under the business district rules, is that a new section? Or is
10.12 is
that,
an entire new section.
okay, so are the businesses that are here in the business district, they all fall under that now? Or are they grandfathered in if they're out of compliance on anything?
So on 10.7, we identify the exact parcels that are part of this rule. So they've been in part of this discussion since we started it, for the most part. So what would happen now, the next step is, once this is blessed and approved, then I will engage them individually with letters informing them there is no grandfathering. They'd be an expectation to start meeting the standards. The reality is, other than one, they're all in compliance or above compliance. So I don't see a problem.
Okay. But if those parcels don't come into compliance, then
We have the right codes and monetary enforcements that we can do here.
Anyone else? Ready to vote? All those in favor of approving chapter 2 and chapter 10 updates will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Anything else, Chairman Duncan?
No, thank you.
Okay, unfinished business from previous meetings. I have nothing. Anybody have anything? New business. Okay, report from the village administrator.
Starting on page 39, you have your monthly report there. Vaccinations continue to roll out. We're in step with the county on the tracking mechanism, so I feel comfortable that our numbers are good. And the active cases hover between 1 to 5. We don't ever go over 5, at least by the county's accounting. So I think we're good there, and we'll continue to monitor that. The one note there, redistricting, we're starting to go full force with the county on redistricting. More to follow through our PIT committee. Bottom line there is that our numbers did not change enough to change any wards. We do have 3 wards. North of Verbunker, between Verbunker and Leatander, and then south of Leatander across the river. There's your 3 wards. The one note that did come out in all this discussion with our county and the league is that we are cleaning up some of our legal terminology of our trustees are elected by at large, not by ward. So the next iteration, once the county approves their rules, we will move through the PIT committee to clean up some language where not only describes our wards like we should do every 10 years, but also very clearly identifies that our 7 trustees are elected at large. And that's how we do things, because that is not clear in our current rules. Manning, personnel, no burning issues there. Payroll, we still continue to execute appropriately. Not a concern there. Public Works, we're finishing up here the next couple of weeks. 3rd Street will be done. And that's our last major project for the year. We talked about the sanitation line. The one due out that may not happen, but it's really tied to 3 other entities, Saratoga and Grand Rapids, is the resurfacing of Town Line Road. But that's a cooperative that will continue to work. Safety and fire, you see your responses there. Nothing note there. Budget, we're on draft 1 of our 2022 budget, working on some of the input from the trustees and the committees. We're good on 2021 execution. We're looking good there on our final numbers. General government, we've increased our, because the school year is cranked back up, we'll have up to 5 of these work study students. One starts Thursday, an additional one starts Thursday. So I'm going to start putting them on some of these specialty projects when it comes to the survey of the village, some committee work to help to try to. We'll do that. Nepco Lake meetings all went well. Very interested community over there, and we're working together with the developer. So that was a good thing that hasn't happened in the past. And the developer has been very forthcoming in discussions with these parties. We've met basically 70% of the interested parties that actually own property over there. The other 30% I chalk up to these are out-of-staters that bought investment property and they don't ever come here. So I'm comfortable who we're talking to are the right folks. I actually have a lake tour with DNR and a couple of the residents tomorrow to look at the problems with weeds and shoreline management. So I'll get some eyes on that because I've only seen it from the banks. The DNR folks want to take me out on the water to show them. We talked redistricting. And for your information, not only has a lawsuit with us and DMI was dropped last month, the lawsuit of DMI and their contractor has been settled. So the court case that was going to start next week has been tabled. I'm not using the proper terms, Dana, correct me, but it's been settled. We do not know any of the specifics of that. We're asking our legal counsel to try to get some of the specifics. And I'll have a discussion with Mr. Moore tomorrow and let him tell me where that stands. Hopefully it stands where now it's freed up some money, possibly, that continuing development should happen there. I say all that they still have invested. They've not only caught up with all the bills due to our village, but they've actually invested right now $250,000 with a Minocqua railroad company that is fixing the rail line. So they've putting money into it, bottom line. The major project will be next month when they start tearing up some of the switches. So we'll see how this settlement pans out for us when we see continuing demolition of the 2 buildings as well as the old mill and developing the river walk. That's the next big thing that we're sitting down with. So, any questions?
If I may, Dana, I know what that smile is, as Boz was explaining the DMI settlement, and I just have got to ask you to add to that.
Well, as far as I can tell, the settlement is, I'm not even sure exactly what the settlement is going to do because there was suit and countersuit. And I have no idea from what I've seen whether there's actually any money exchanging hands or both sides just agreed to eat what they had and go their separate ways, or where we are with it. So to be perfectly honest, I would love to know what Joe Moore has to say, because I think there's as many questions now as there was before.
Anybody else? Questions for Boz or Dana?
It's a telling statement, Dana.
Well, I mean, part of my career is based on facts and not speculating, and I'm just not going to speculate as to what's happened. So I guess I'd like to see something more tangible before I give you any information.
Well, I just think that the special committee idea with you and the village administrator kept some much needed pressure on, because we started this when they're probably in 2017, talking with DMI, and it's only been in this last year where we've really gotten them to start doing a few things. So thank you to you and to Boz. Anybody else? Any questions for Boz? Okay, that it, sir?
So,
Clerk treasurer. Okay, trustee comments and any items, upcoming stuff, any correspondence you received or? Nothing? Okay, committee calendar. Now, don't forget, 7 o'clock at Port Edwards Fire Department on October 12th. Somebody can give me a call that day if I'm sitting down here alone. I appreciate it.
only two administrative changes, President. The timing, the civilian timing and the military timing is off for FHR and Pitt, so we'll correct that. So 4:30 for FHR on the 7th should be 16:30, and 5 o'clock for Pitt on the 7th should be 1700.
16. Okay.
No, 5 o'clock's Pitt. Pitt's after
Okay.
FHR. Yeah.
What's the
4:30.
FHR time?
4:30 is FHR,
That's what it says, yeah.
and well,
Public safety should be
Public
1600
safety.
instead of 1700.
yes, and public safety is 4 o'clock.
How could a colonel mess up military?
Oh,
Oh,
it's that civilian thing threw me off.
yeah.
Yeah, but you got that one right.
We'll give you one of these
Any questions on the calendar?
Wow, well, yeah.
Anything else from anybody? Pastor, anything to say? Your first village board meeting?
No, I don't, nope.
Okay.
Very exciting.
Alrighty, if we
Sure,
have
it's a
nothing
thrill.
further, I will declare the meeting adjourned at 7:48 PM. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.